And I am Aditya.
And welcome to Dhikichyau, the podcast. This is episode 45, and today we are going to talk about mental health. So I think mental health, when a word or phrase, it's been like thrown around by everyone, mostly our generation. But we just wanted to spark up the conversation to take a look with yourself, like, are you really taking care of yourself or not, Calico? And we wanted to share our journey of therapy as well.
Mhm.
So hopefully this can be of some use to you guys. And we're also planning to start a series on the same topic, mental health, where we want to discuss about different types of therapy, how you can get started, and that's a whole other story which we will be talking about in the podcast itself. So let's get started with Azuka podcast.
Let's go.
How are you feeling?
It's a very tough question to answer that right now, Ed.
Yeah. Why?
Because there's a lot of things happening in life right now. So there's also be like a life update one.
Oh, right.
Kind of. So for the people who've been following us, they will know like we've been going through a lot of different journeys in our life, and obviously, we're in it together. Everybody's going through their own journeys. So मेरो चाहिँ in a week I'll be leaving for my masters to the UK.
That is actually it's something you should be proud of and not be alkati, I don't know, you're being alkati shy or alkati sad khaleko.
Yeah.
But it's a very good university that you're going to, and it's like your dream university. So
yeah, so I got into UC.
Congratulations, guys! Please comment down below. Congratulations, Adi.
ठीक.
So you're going to?
So I got into UCL for the course that I really wanted to pursue. So the course is called Prosperity, Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So it basically focuses on how to make socially impactful businesses.
Wow.
So त्यस्तै कुराहरू हो. तर एक्ज्याक्टली मलाई चाहिँ कस्तो भइरहेछ भन्दा फर द थिङ्स द्याट आई सुड बी सेलिब्रेटिङ. सो हामीले चाहिँ यो पडकास्ट एकैछिनको लागि ब्रेक पनि लिएको थियो फर अ कपाल अफ मन्थ्स. अनि त्यो बिचमा चाहिँ धेरै कुराहरू भयो. अनि थिङ्स द्याट आई सुड हेभ बिन हुन्छ नि एक्साइटेड अबाउट, थिङ्स द्याट आई सुड हेभ बिन सेलिब्रेटिङ अबाउट, त्यही सेम कुराहरूले चाहिँ मलाई स्ट्रेस गर्न थाल्यो क्या. Because with things like this, so when you get into a good university, obviously people expect things.
People as in who?
Your parents, your friends,
Society
as a whole, and with the great responsibility, with great power. This is whatever, with great opportunities also comes great expectations.
Okay.
So
that's true.
मलाई चाहिँ रिसेन्ट मन्थ्समा चाहिँ धेरै अपर्च्युनिटिजहरू पाइरहेको छु. अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ द लोड अफ एक्सपेक्टेसन्स अन मी चाहिँ जस्ट फिल्स लाइक इट्स जस्ट पाइलिङ एन्ड पाइलिङ. अनि किपिङ अप विथ द एक्सपेक्टेसन्स चाहिँ जस्ट आई डोन्ट नो इफ आइ एम ह्यान्डलिङ द्याट वेल.
But are you enjoying though?
What do you mean?
I mean, are you enjoying the work that you're doing? Like the जुन opportunities that you came across, are you enjoying it?
मलाई चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ नि, sometimes like it comes back to self-worth को question के. So अहिले चाहिँ like I'm doing this group therapy which is focused upon self-acceptance. And we do talk a lot about self-worth. So मलाई चाहिँ whenever I do get opportunities such as this, going to one of the best universities in the world, like पाउँछ, and then I feel like why me खाले.
How did I stumble upon this?
Yeah, like हुन्छ नि, like also
imposter syndrome's kicking in, no?
Yeah, I feel like I shouldn't be getting the opportunities that I do get. And I to have problem accepting that I am worth it. हुन्छ नि, you get it? अनि त्यसले गर्दा झन् स्ट्रेस आउट हुने के.
So
त्यो बाहेक पनि there was another, there was this documentary grant that I received from KIMF, Kathmandu Mountain International Film Festival. It's a Tony Hagen Barfoot, they give out this grant to 4 filmmakers every year, you know. And this is apparently a big deal in the filmmaking community in Nepal. जुन चाहिँ मलाई
The word to के भन्छ, the keyword here is apparently.
I didn't know like as such हुन्छ नि त्यही like कस्तो म चाहिँ it was just there was this story I was chasing हुन्छ नि about my hometown अनि त्यो चाहिँ I thought like since we do have a platform Dhikichyau होइन म यहीँ पनि maybe I'd like pursue that story here भनेर पनि whenever I like went back to my hometown I would sit down with this like group of women अनि उनीहरूकै story थियो क्या so I was chasing their story and you would sit down with them and just like dig deeper होइन त्यो story चाहिँ भइरहेको थियो अनि obviously Pratibha who's our researcher helped me out with the application for that documentary अनि interview को लागि बोलायो and I went. I didn't even know the full form of KIMF. So, अनि मलाई चाहिँ they just asked me about the story. जुन चाहिँ I was like very, I knew everything about हुन्छ नि. So मलाई त्यो story र के गर्नु मन छ र कसरी त्यो pursue गर्नु मन छ सबै कुरा थाहा थियो.
So you were chasing the story and the thing, but not the grant itself.
Yeah.
So you're so like driven by the intention of making that thing happen.
Yeah. मलाई त्योहरू थाहा थिएन क्या अनि त्यसपछि after the interview I researched about the thing अनि apparently it's a big deal रहेछ क्या अनि surprisingly the next day I get in हुन्छ नि and there are people who I've known who I've worked with before अनि who are like better filmmakers than I am who didn't receive it क्या and then it just makes me question myself even more क्या the fuck के हुन्छ नि म त filmmaker पनि exactly होइन there are people who doing this for a living and then like I received the grant खाले हुन्छ नि
wow so what do you think got you in why is this turning into a therapy session oh my god just answer that and we'll move on to the main content
I think they liked the story. I think they liked how I pitched it. One thing I'm confident about is how I can sell ideas. I think I just did that.
Yeah, I think so too because you shot your episode 4 Dhikichyau also Janakpurma.
Yeah, I did.
I know, and it was about the same thing. And I know you've been like really pursuing that story. So I think that is what like actually got you in because they saw that you were in for it. So congratulations on so many things. Now getting back to the podcast, we wanted to talk about our journey of therapy as well because Chao and I we've been seeking therapy for a year now.
I think so.
The cross So we wanted to talk about that, share our experiences with you guys. And what we got out of it, like 1 year back ra ahilekoमा के छ difference खालेको अनि you know it's because like we both of us are like we always advocate mental health and seeking therapy, so we thought why not have this episode in itself. So do you want to go ahead and like talk about actually I should go ahead because मैले start गरेँ
please you start yeah
so मलाई therapy चाहिँ as I just said therapy चाहिँ I was always advocating for mental health awareness and seeking therapy. तर मलाई चाहिँ for some reason I was like I need to reach a breaking point to go to therapy जस्तो हुन्थ्यो कि अनि one of my friends she was going to therapy and I told her the same thing. She was sharing her experiences and उसले भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ I told her the same thing. I think I'm just waiting for that breaking point to go to therapy भन्नु भयो and she just like what the hell and she just laughed it off okay? Like you don't have to reach that breaking point to go to therapy. I don't know if this is a Nepali thing or a human thing we just wait for things to be worst okay? To take action. अब जिमहरू जाने पनि त्यही त हो लाइक डक्टरले ल तपाईलाई डायबिटिज भयो भने लेखेर दिन्छ अनि त्यसपछि भोलिदेखि डाइट पनि गराएको छ वर्कआउट पनि गराएको छ होइन everything. So and I was sort of like relating it to that के because workout पनि त अब you do it for a long term होइन, you make it a part of your life, you make it your lifestyle, so it benefits you throughout your life खालेको कुरा हो नि त. अनि मेन्टल हेल्थ पनि why not जस्तै लाग्ने,
Yeah.
because mental health is such a देख्दैन नि त, खुट्टा भाँच्यो भने त ल प्लास्टर लगाएर बस्यो भने ए ला बिचरा हुन्छ नि, डु निड सम हेल्प, यस्तो यस्तो हुन्छ, दिमागमा के भइरहेछ, नो वान क्यान रिड योर माइन्ड,
Yeah.
so no one actually knows how you are के.
And for you, we're not encouraged to even like show that neither.
Yeah.
We're encouraged to put a plaster on it. Okay?
Yeah.
So suppose even if you are having some problems, we live in this social media world where we just have to put on a filter on everything and just look nice, and look like we're always having a good time. And obviously, बच्चादेखि you also have this. There's so much like internalized messaging. के बच्चादेखि always like हुन्छ नि, खुसी हुनुपर्छ, राम्रो हुनुपर्छ, you always राम्रो हुनुपर्छ, and anything except those things, if you feel anything else, you feel like you're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
Okay? Obviously, you don't want to accept that you're doing something wrong.
That is true. तर मेरो फर्स्ट थेरापी सेसनमा चाहिँ my friend did tell me that धेरै एक्सपेक्ट नगर, it's just like an introductory session where you talk about what you want, what you're looking from a therapy session भनेर होइन. And I had no expectations. मैले like literally के थेरापी हो हुन्छ नि, कुन अप्रोच युज गरेर चाहिँ के पनि नै रिसर्च गरेको थिएन कि. I just like went in, हुन्छ नि, nothing in my head. अनि त्यो सेसनमा I felt so hurt के, like what, like what is happening खाले के. Like I felt so, I don't know, it was such a safe space for me to just be के. अनि मलाई त्यो फर्स्ट सेसन होइन, like it had a really big impact on me के. अनि अब बिस्तारै ब्रेक, अब बिस्तारै लाइक त्यो हुन्छ नि, त्यो के भन्छ त्यसलाई, अनभिल गर्दै जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ there are some issues that I have to take care of भनेर चाहिँ I sort of like realized that. अनि I think that's how I continued. अनि मैले चाहिँ उसलाई भनिरहेको थिएँ लाइक ब्रो यो थेरापी त जानुपर्ने कुरा हो भनेर. Ani, so do you want to continue your journey of therapy?
Obviously, we're both like always advocating like therapy or whatever people need, whatever they need to do, they should खाली. त्यस्तो मेरो दिमागमा therapy towards stigma चाहिँ कहिले पनि थिएन. But then obviously it's hard for you to accept when you need therapy खाली के.
True.
And you feel like you need to be broken or you need to have an issue to then to like fix it.
That's the last resort.
That's the last resort खाली. But it's actually not. हुन्छ नि, यो चाहिँ like एकदम चाहिने चिज होइन. But like therapy in the sense, it doesn't always have to be like professional therapy also. Okay? You can do things that are therapeutic. हुन्छ नि.
Oh, right.
होइन. So मलाई चाहिँ for me, मेरो therapy was just like first few months, literally the first few months was just like me giving life updates and ranting about things. Okay? Because most of the times what we do is there are a very limited number of people you actually share things with, you actually talk with. And there's a lot of trauma you have, there's a lot of guilt, there's a lot of things you're not proud of. There are a lot of things you're ashamed of. And त्यस्तो कुराहरू चाहिँ there's the same people who are a part of your life. अनि कति कुराहरू चाहिँ त्यो ट्रमाहरू जे हुन्छ उनीहरूले गर्दा हुन्छ क्या होइन. Sometimes the trauma, sometimes the shame, the guilt is due to your parents, due to your friends, due to your partners, and those are the people you share the most things with. So you can't rant about them to them. होइन. It's just spirals. Okay? And plus कस्तो हुन्छ नि, there's so many times when you're feeling things but you don't know exact words to describe it.
Oh yes, that's a big one.
And even when you are like talking to people, you have a very high chance that you're going to ruin relationships. So मेरो लागि चाहिँ first therapy, how it started out was, I have no problem like sharing things or accepting my mistakes. हुन्छ नि. That's something मलाई त्यस्तो साह्रो problem चाहिँ हुन्थेन. So I would go into therapy and just like talk about everything. Okay? And मलाई चाहिँ light feel हुने. So it was just a place for me to think, because I usually think by speaking. Everybody thinks by speaking. Most of people, you think or you, because there's a lot of shit that's going on inside your head. When you put it into words, when you put like, it just comes out and you can see it. Okay, when you're talking, you can see it. When you're writing, it's even better. You know, and so it's just like those jumbled up कुराहरु चाहिँ तिमीले भनेपछि चाहिँ it's in the air. It makes more sense. You know, and so therapy again, तिमीले भने जस्तै, it was just a safe space for like to share those things. You know, and मेरो therapist this is a suggestion or whatever. This दिँदैन क्या therapy is not like a guidance खाली हैन के. It's just like therapy is just a safe space for you to share things, and they'll give you tools that can help you discover or like work on yourself.
I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions or like myths therapy my answer pounds. I'm like, no, like I asked my therapist so many questions like, why am I this, why am I that, and he's just like, there, the answer is with you. And but what he does is he does like ask right questions at the right time. You'd say, okay, he does it out of curiosity and to know where this is coming from. And when he asks that question, it just like makes me think even more. Okay.
मलाई चाहिँ oftentimes हुन्छ नि, you can trace back your emotions. Okay? You can trace back everything you're feeling.
What do you mean by that?
Like, if you're feeling I don't feel the best thing, you know. But now I have the tools that I can trace it back to why I don't feel it. I feel it because I feel the load of expectations. And then I feel it because म trace गर्नु सक्छु के चाहिँ हो problem भन्न चाहिँ पत्ता लगाउन सक्छु के. Because oftentimes कस्तो हुन्छ नि, we just feel things, अनि त्यो कहाँबाट आइराछ, किन आइराछ, कसरी आइराछ चाहिँ it's very hard for us to find out. You know? Decipher. So in therapy चाहिँ I think मैले चाहिँ सिकेको कुरा चाहिँ is to like go deep and find out. मलाई त्यो एउटा कुरा चाहिँ always had a lot of guilt of like hurting people खाले हुन्छ नि, अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ am I a bad person खाले लाग्ने के. अनि थेरेपीमा तिमीले भने जस्तो like why do you feel that way, then you're just asking questions like why गर्दा then you reach a point where you realize, oh, this is where it stemmed from. Right. Because there are like हाम्रो pastमा mostly हुन्छ नि, there are some dark basements you don't want to go into. Okay? And the dark areas it causes you all of these negative emotions. Makes you feel anxious, makes you feel depressed, all of these things, you know, because it is the fear of the unknown. Okay? You know, but just imagine the fear of the unknown. तिम्रो त्यो मेमोरिजहरु हुन्छ नि, like तिमीले राम्ररी decipher गरे छैन के. It's just like a dark basement that you haven't been to हुन्छ नि. So just imagine therapy as you having somebody or like just having the courage to slowly go into that basement and just like look around. So obviously you still don't know what's going on. It's a bit scary, but then you light up a candle, you see the basement, and after a while it gets bright and you know where things are. Even though it's not the best place, you at least know what it is. And then the fear of the unknown is gone. So you can see the basement for what it is. You can see the incidents for what it was. You can see the events for what it was. You can see the memories for what it was and not what you made of it.
Yeah. Malai चाहिँ personally, I think it literally took me like a year to get to that point because it was in layers. Because मेरो, I think first thing therapy ma that I started doing was accepting the fact that I don't want to feel things. Like you said, you can trace back your emotions. To trace back emotions, emotions acknowledge. For me, I was like in a space where I did not want to feel things. For me, it was like feeling things and emotions, weakness, just to treat. So the first barrier for me was to be okay with the fact that I have emotions and I feel it because I'm a human. Humans like emotions feel very also. Time and then after that was categorizing which emotion is what. So मलाई चाहिँ मेरो थेरापिस्टले he gave me an emotion chart.
Yeah.
So every time ke breakdown bhayo, or if I just told him that I'm feeling weird, then do you want to like take a look at your emotion chart or no? And then I would look at it and sorry हेर्दाखेरि and whichever like जुन पढ्दाखेरि चाहिँ like त्यो अलिकति त्यो इमोसन्स अझै बढा जस्तो हुन्छ नि, and I was like yeah, this is what I feel खालेको. And then we would go into why we're feeling that भनेर. So it like my therapist sort of had to spoon feed me खालेकै हो क्या त्यो चाहिँ. हुन्छ नि बिस्तारै हात समात्दै हिँडेको जस्तै हो क्या त्यो चाहिँ. So there are a lot of layers and you might be anywhere हुन्छ नि, from not feeling emotions to feeling it too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is something you have to work on आफै.
Obviously, exactly like you said, हुन्छ नि, everybody is completely different. Everybody has a completely different experience about life and how they make things out of it. But obviously, everything just comes down to two things. Okay? It's the images that you have in your head and the stories that you tell yourself. Okay? And with therapy, you just have, not just with therapy, therapy जानु पर्छ भने नि हैन, गएको राम्रो हैन, but then if you just have actual good non-judgmental friends around you who will just listen to you, or like if you have a habit of writing in a safe space, you know, so just to have those spaces is important. I lost my train of thought there.
Okay. But I know what you brought up is something very interesting because you're doing group therapy, you know?
Yeah.
Right now. So म त्यही सोचिरहेको थिएँ कि like about the first session of how I felt so heard भनेको थिएँ नि हैन. अनि a couple of days back I was talking to this that is my group, okay? The bad bitches. Shout out to my bad bitches. So that is my personal safe space, okay? अनि म त्यही we were talking about the same thing about हुन्छ नि, तिमीले कुरा त कसैलाई पोख्यो but do you feel better or not भन्ने कुरा के. Because there are people who don't feel better even after venting it out to someone के. अनि I felt like before therapy चाहिँ that was me, like I didn't really feel very good because I wasn't very open about being genuine about my emotions के. So even if I felt very about, I don't know, jealous or grumpy or whatever, त्यो communicate गर्दाखेरि
the rant would be different के.
Yeah, so त्यो tone down गर्ने के.
Tone down भन्दा नि it's a different narrative के. So if there's suppose guy issue हुन्छ नि, you'd be like fuck him खाले, but then deep down you are feeling some sense of like हुन्छ नि rejection or like something else के. That is the emotion that you're feeling. तर तिमीले rant गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ you're blaming it on him के.
No, that's not what I mean. What I'm saying is like त्यो के भन्छ rant गर्दाखेरि पनि emotions जुन चाहिँ छ नि त्यो communicate गर्दाखेरि पनि I would tone it down because I wouldn't trust the person I'm opening it up to. So like some of the people were problematic, some of them were like very dismissive हुन्छ नि. अनि थेरापीमा गएपछि चाहिँ अब हैन थेरापीमा
मलाई मान्छेहरु
please don't do this in a public platform. अनि like थेरापीमा गएपछि चाहिँ like I felt heard. अनि त्यसपछि I realized that it was okay to be that way. It was okay to feel that way. And there should be people who should be validating how I feel. And त्यसपछि चाहिँ like I sort of found people who are like that. Okay? So for me, it's my bad bitches. Like goera, like literally 2-3 बस्सम्म rant गरेर हुन्छ हैन. अनि they're there to listen. Okay? And they also know the context नि त. अनि अब कहिलेकाहीँ जिस्किरा हुन्छ, कहिलेकाहीँ हुन्छ नि उ गरेर हुन्छ, तर you know they're just there and I feel very safe around them. Okay? So I feel like you said अघि therapy नै जानु पर्छ भन्ने छैन. I'm pretty sure like it's not very like the resources पनि पुग्दैन, accessible पनि हुँदैन, but it's nice to have a group of people who would sort of like, you know, be there for you and would want to listen. खालेको चाहिँ हो. So that is that. I forgot to sort of give a disclaimer in the beginning. about how we're not experts in this matter,
Yes.
and whatever we're speaking is
Out of experience.
of our therapy journey.
Mm.
So please don't take this very professionally.
Mm.
If you want to seek therapy,
Yeah.
we will be linking some of the Uola.
Yeah, but this is like the first episode of the series that Dhikichyau will be continuing. So त्यसमा चाहिँ she'll have professionals on, अनि maybe उनीहरूको कुराहरू चाहिँ would make more
Yeah,
sense.
that would be U. But we just wanted to start it off with alikati के भन्छ त्यसलाई?
Light-hearted हाम्रो journey.
Light-hearted conversation. Yeah. So that is that. I think there are like a lot of things we said in the first half about therapy and our journey, but I
But also like
want to,
what is like the one key learning from your therapy?
that I was gonna come to that. I actually have a lot. Because म त एकदमै actively therapy seek गरेर हो नि त.
Yeah.
So मेरो therapy चाहिँ started off as once a week. And एउटा पोइन्टमा चाहिँ I started doing therapy twice a week because I felt like I really needed it. And मेरो journey has been quite consistent भनौँ न. So there are like a lot of things I learned in therapy. Okay? I think some of the things I've also mentioned already. होइन? तर I want to start off with messages. So messages चाहिँ this isn't the text message or whatever message we're talking about. होइन? These are like mental messages. Okay? So growing up अब बच्चा हुँदाखेरि त we don't know anything नि त. We don't know what the world is like. Like बच्चाहरूलाई डिस्क्रिमिनेट गर्नै आउँदैन. को दलित को ब्ल्याक को वाइट को LGBTQI whatever कसैलाई पनि डिस्क्रिमिनेट गर्न आउँदैन नि त. त्यो त सिकाएर सिक्ने कुरा हो नि त. अनि मलाई एकदमै रियलाइज भएको अनि अति नै टर्निङ पोइन्ट भनेको चाहिँ लाइक दिज मेसेजेस हो कि. बिकज आई वुड गो टु माई थेरापिस्ट एन्ड टेल हिम हाउ miserable I felt हुन्छ नि. I'm so indecisive or I'm so miserable, I'm so like हुन्छ नि I look like this, I'm यस्तो यस्तो भन्दाखेरि अनि he would just like listen and he would ask me के where did you get that message from भनेर के. अनि that really helped me तिमीले भने जस्तो अघि trace back into where I got it from. अनि यसमा चाहिँ I think the people you really look up to plays a huge role. अब तिम्रो पेरेन्ट्स टिचर्स होइन अनि पिपल यु लुक अप टु योर फ्रेन्ड्स हुन्छ नि. बिकज मलाई बाटोमा हिँड्ने मान्छेले यस्तो घिनलाग्दो देखाए यस्तो भन्नु मलाई के लाग्दैन क्या. बट लाइक इफ देयर इज अ फ्रेन्ड हुज लाइक भेरी क्लोज टु मी or my partner says that to me, then it hurts के. Because it's coming from a very credible source नै भनौँ न. If someone just like आएर यस्तो घिनलाग्दो यताउति भन्यो भने केही फरक पर्दैन क्या. But when it comes from your parents or your teachers, then it's like oh my god, like they're adults, they are people who know their shit, so when they're commenting something bad that it probably means something खालेको हो नि त. So that's how messages build up के. अनि त्यसले गर्दा नि लाइक यो हुन्छ नि बच्चाहरूको कुरा स्कुलको कुरा हुन्छ नि. बिकज एन्ड देन आई स्टार्टेड थिङ्किङ अबाउट स्कुल के. टिचर्सहरूले कस्तो ब्यास हानिन्थ्यो क्या स्टुडेन्ट्सहरूलाई.
Tell me about it. म त जहिले पनि बच्चादेखि डे 1 देखि हिट लिस्टमा भएको मान्छे यार.
त्यही मेरो पनि स्कुलमा त्यस्तै अब आई वाज भेरी स्टुडियस एन्ड आई वाज लाइक पढ्न रमाइलो लाग्थ्यो मलाई. सो मलाई त्यस्तो फिल हुन्थ्यो. बट आई रिमेम्बर हाउ माई टिचर्स ब्यास्ड माई फ्रेन्ड्स के. तिमीहरू यस्तो तिमीहरू के गरेर खान्थेन यहाँ वहाँ भन्ने कि. अनि त्यति बेला चाहिँ आई युज टु फिल ब्याड बिकज दे आर माई फ्रेन्ड्स. बट नाउ आई फिल इभन मोर टेरिबल thinking about the messages they got ke, as a child huncha ni.
And the thing about messages is त्यो internalized huncha ke.
Exactly.
So you internalize those things and त्यो internalized messages slowly start becoming your identity.
Exactly. त्यही त. So when I go to my therapist and tell him that I'm very के भन्ने indecisive or stuff, that is something that I have internalized के.
And that has slowly like तिमीले भन्दा internalize गरेर तिम्रो identity नै त्यही भइसक्यो.
Actions मै reflect हुन्छ क्या अनि. So when I'm just like हुन्छ नि evaluating something, then it's just gonna be like in my head there's a spiral of anxiety एउटा छ already for not being able to decide, and then there's another anxiety of how I'm indecisive भनेर के. So there's a double attack there हुन्छ नि.
Mhm.
So that is one. अनि त्यो भएर चाहिँ अलिकति especially teachers, parents also.
But can you blame them though? हुन्छ नि like so the thing is हरेक प्रब्लममा those are things you can't control के. You can't control what other people are going to tell you. You can't control what your parents, what your friends, what your teachers are going to tell you. हुन्छ नि. At the end of the day, it again comes back to you to decipher those things, reflect, and then make choices. Okay?
I agree on that.
हुन्छ
तर
नि. I get it. Like हुन्छ नि, त्यो it is like you can't expect the world to be perfect. Okay?
true.
There's never gonna be an ideal world where like every single parent just knows exactly what to do.
True.
They're having a child for the first time. Like हुन्छ नि. So every teacher is gonna know exactly how to treat their students.
Yeah.
Every friend is gonna know exactly how to lend a shoulder. हुन्छ नि. त्यस्तो हुँदैन हैन. So
That
you
is
can't
true.
मलाई चाहिँ the culture right now हुन्छ नि about canceling people or just like blaming other people for your mental traumas, like
I know.
they do play a role, but then you need to take responsibility.
I agree on that, obviously. I know that why I'm going back to school and parenting is because बच्चाहरूलाई थाहा हुँदैन क्या त्यो कुरा.
Yeah, understood.
Like as adults, we know like we are responsible for our trauma भनेर. तर बच्चाहरूलाई त थाहा हुँदैन नि त. Like there's so many ways you're fucking up a child, okay?
Yep.
And त्यो भएर चाहिँ especially parents and teachers चाहिँ I feel like they have a huge responsibility.
Yep.
And without training चाहिँ जो पाए त्यसलाई टिचर बनाउनु चाहिँ ठिक हो जस्तो लाग्दैन मलाई.
That's it. I also agree.
Yeah, तर yeah, obviously like you said, त्यो trauma चाहिँ it's your responsibility. Like sounds unfair and हुन्छ नि. Like someone goes and does some terrible shit to me and I'm supposed to be responsible for getting myself out of it is a terrible thing, you know, but that is how it is.
Because अब if see भइसक्यो त्यो कुराहरू अब this not like it's not under your control. The only thing that is under your control is that you can take up responsibility and work on yourself and fix those traumas, issues you have, you know. But obviously I do understand parenting and teachers or whoever dealing with kids should be very responsible. I agree. More poorly, I think if you listen to our previous episodes, parenting ko लागि पनि you should like have a course, give an exam. Only if you pass, then you should be allowed to have kids भनेर सम्म भने होला हैन. Like so म अब त्यस्तो हुन्छ क्या, like you feel frustrated with like हुन्छ नि a lot of त्यस्तो कुराहरू when you see parents like हुन्छ नि not doing their jobs right. तर obviously the world isn't going to function like that.
Yeah, I mean it's not ideal, yeah, obviously, but we can try.
We can try to have a better world, a kinder world.
So तिमीलाई चाहिँ के हो कि मेरो त I have a list.
मेरो I think मेरो सबैको key learning at the end of the day हामीले okay this I'll connect this with a fun कुरा. So me and my dear brother, my friend, we also started like this event company and we do sunflower sessions one year again. And the whole idea behind sunflower sessions was just to create a space where it would be very communal, very like good vibes and spreading positive energy. So it didn't start because you wanted to make money. It didn't start anything, but it was always like music was always my escape. Okay? Music was always something that would like end all divides. So if you fucking like rock and if you're headbanging and there's another guy, girl, like a gay dude, like a trans woman, like it wouldn't matter again, bro, because all heads are just banging, you know. You get what I'm trying to say.
I get you.
Yeah, it's like what I'd say for me, music has always been that common space for everyone.
Yeah.
And what I'd say, that feeling was just so like music could bring people together, just like end all divides. You know? That was exactly the vibe we were going for. We also made this merch, you know. And त्यसमा चाहिँ लाइक स्टुडेन्ट पोजिटिभ भाइब्रेसन तल there's this quote and the quote has been my biggest learning.
Do you want to reveal the quote?
Yeah. So the quote basically says, practice being kind to yourself. You're only human, not perfect, but beautiful. And so that has been my biggest learning, because I was always like I would want to be a perfectionist, and I would just couldn't accept myself, because I would have this big dreams, and then I would have this big grandiose ideas, and obviously things don't always work out as planned, and then I would beat myself down. So and another thing चाहिँ मलाई कस्तो हुन्थ्यो भने there's so many times this कुरा चाहिँ you as humans you make a lot of mistakes, and we're always taught that mistakes are bad, and then another कुरा चाहिँ you make a lot of mistakes and lose a lot of people, and you can't make everybody happy के.
Yeah.
मेरो चाहिँ बच्चादेखि प्रब्लम चाहिँ I would want to make everybody happy के, हैन, very like people pleaser kind of. अनि मसँग कोही रिसायो कि त मलाई कसैले मन पराएन भने would just like make me feel like super bad. अनि at some point of time I felt like I was just like, I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I knew I was doing something wrong, because I felt like I was just like pushing people away. I was just hurting people, yeah. And at that point of time is when I started seeking for therapy, and therapy it's like, it's all right, like you can't be perfect, you are going to hurt some people, because that's not under your control, हैन. अनि तिमीले मान्छेलाई हर्ट गर्यो भने चाहिँ मलाई चाहिँ अति हेभी गिल्ट हुने क्या. So just to accept that you're human and you can make mistakes, you are going to hurt people, you can't make everybody happy, was like my biggest learning. To just be, let be.
But how did you come in terms with that?
To be
Like, were there any tools that you used? कि त्यो थेरापीमा rant sessionले गर्दा नि you sort of like got that message?
it was a lot of, are you doing things because you want to do it, or are you doing things because other people expect you to do it, खाले के हुन्छ नि. सो म आज जस्ट अघिको इन्टरनलाइजिङ कुराहरू गऱ्यो नि हामी, त्यसरी नै मेरो चाहिँ इन्टरनलाइज कुराहरू चाहिँ वाज अलवेज लाइक दिस बिग एक्सपेक्टेसन्स यु हेभ अपन यर हेड, हुन्छ नि. From parents, from society, you always have to do good, always have to make a lot of money, be like successful, whatever that means, हुन्छ नि. So do all of that. अनि मेरो चाहिँ just like always living up to those expectations के. So whatever people want you to be, you just like aim to be that खाली. And obviously you can't always live up to those expectations, you know.
Especially when there are like multiple expectations from multiple dimensions.
Yeah, definitely. And then you start feeling like a misfit.
So like, how did you I get it where this is stemming from, you know. You talked about messages, and then you talked about how you got out of it. So the bitchako process चाहिँ के हो भनेको, like what story did you tell yourself, or did you journal, what did you do? What was your escape, or what were you doing right to get to that point भनेको?
One thing I could do was change the scenario I was in.
As in?
Change the spaces that I was in. The people, I just needed like a fresh, because so if you're with the same people for a long period of time, the expectations त्यही नै हुन्छ, अनि you just feel like you just have an image of yourself. अनि त्यो इम्पोस्टर सिन्ड्रोम भइसक्यो क्या मलाई, म यति वर्षदेखि, बिकज आइ एम ट्राइङ टु बी वाट दे एक्सपेक्ट मी टु बी. अब इफ आई बी माइसेल्फ दे फिल लाइक आइ एम बिङ समबडी एल्स के, हुन्छ नि. सो आई जस्ट निडेड अ चेन्ज इन प्लेस, समथिङ लाइक द्याट, हुन्छ नि. तर मलाई चाहिँ फर a few months I was in my home. I just like wouldn't want to get up, get out of bed. I would stay in my bed for like the longest I could, हुन्छ नि. जबसम्म खानु उठ्नु, or like उठ्नै पर्ने बेला मात्रै I would go out, otherwise I just like stay in bed. अनि ignoring a lot of things. त्यसपछि चाहिँ you were just like you find people who would just listen or whatever, and it was just like मलाई चाहिँ I accepted the fact that I could survive even if
without the people you're usually hanging out with. Yeah, I think that's a very valid point, because so often we are so quick at connecting our identity with people around us, होइन, and it's so hooked के like होइन यस्तै नै गर्नुपर्छ भनेर, like even like being with people, like हुन्छ नि relationships or whatever पनि हुन्छ नि, like you're just like hooked to that one. मैले अघि भने जस्तो like I had so many people that I talked to, but I never felt accepted. खालेको हुन्छ नि, some of them were dismissive, यस्तो के केहरू. And then when you have the courage to like get out of it and explore on your own, it sort of gives you that power to reset your entire narrative. Okay?
Yeah.
I think that's what you're getting at.
Oh yeah, please, thank you so much to explain on that. Then खास गरी so that's kind of exactly what happened हुन्छ नि with therapy चाहिँ it's just like I could हुन्छ नि, so I could see like with therapy चाहिँ I could see where the problem lied हुन्छ नि. I could see मलाई कुन स्पेसेसहरूमा चाहिँ मलाई अलिकति अनकम्फर्टेबल फिल हुन्छ भनेर त्यो चाहिँ मैले आइडेन्टिफाई गर्न सकेँ थ्रु थेरेपी. Obviously to build that courage to just like हुन्छ नि get out and do something new चाहिँ it just had to come from within हुन्छ नि, one step at a time. तर फेरि एउटा स्टेप लिने बित्तिकै like wild भएन, which is different. But then it's just like when I could take like one step out and then go to a different place, like just change हुन्छ नि. फेरि यो चाहिँ फेरि सबैजनालाई गर्नु गाह्रो हुन्छ क्या. So I'm just like saying this out of like I did have the privilege to change locations or like change a scenario in space.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean,
to do that also is a privilege.
Exactly. What if I just want to like मलाई नेपाल नै पुगेर not everybody has the resources to go to बाहिर हुन्छ नि and do it. It makes sense. I mean, one more thing I just like caught from what you just said was how you accepted that and you took the first step. I think therapy ma a lot of it is that, because like we mentioned again, nobody gives us answer क्या therapy ma. कहिले काहीँ यस्तो frustrating हुन्छ. I'm just like telling my therapist like tell me what I'm supposed to do and it's just like there, like I know the answer is with you भनेर बसिरहेको हुन्छ होइन. अनि तर what I've noticed is once you start accepting your emotions, feelings, how you're feeling, and when you sit with it without numbing the pain, you just like it just grows and it makes you take action. Okay? किनभने we I think अहिलेको जमानामा झन् there are so many ways you can dissociate.
Yeah.
Social media, drugs, or like alcohol, smoking.
To numb the pain.
Yeah, like compulsive eating and all of that. Okay? Clubbing, very evident one. अहिलेको हैन.
Nepalको nightlife the wild.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. So there are a lot of ways people just like tend to numb the pain. And that is exactly why you can't get out of the misery. Okay? So the awareness obviously is the first step.
Yeah, I think it's so important to sit with your pain. Okay?
Yeah, true. Sit with your pain matra bhanda pani sit with your emotions. Okay?
Yeah.
Happy emotions, sad emotions, whatever emotions you have. So apparently there are like 9 major emotions that you feel. हैन. अनि त्यो 9 वटा पनि 6 वटा चाहिँ is अलिकति sad or what people perceive as sad हुन्छ नि. So jealousy, sadness, के छ हैन, there's a list. अनि 3टा चाहिँ joy, happiness and curiosity के. So like अलिकति मात्र portion चाहिँ happy छ कि. So it's kind of sad that के को sad भन्ने हैन. I mean like these are just emotions. तर these are strong emotions के. The sad ones too. अनि one of the biggest thing that we've learned, like most people learn, is that your bad emotions or jealousy होस्, insecurity होस्, sadness होस्, sorrow होस्, grief होस्, people try to avoid that. Okay?
Yeah.
And that is when you fall into that loop of not trying to feel things.
या अनि यस्तो यस्तो हुन्छ क्या so obviously emotions is like if you numb feeling grief, if you numb feeling यस्तो अरू इमोसन्सहरू you also numb feeling happiness and joy क्या
Mhm.
you can't like numb one emotion and expand on another क्या
That's
Like,
true.
it has like both ends हुन्छ क्या
Mm.
when you feel the deepest of sorrows, the deepest of
Mm.
grief, that's when you are the most happy, when you actually connect.
Right.
हुन्छ नि त्यो द्याट्स जतिको चाहिँ डिपली लस फिल हुन्छ त्यतिकै डिपली लभ पनि फिल हुन्छ क्या
Mm.
सो इफ यु जस्ट लाइक न्यारोइङ द इन्टायर स्पेक्ट्रम
Right. Yeah, I think that just reminded me of what you told me. पहिला एकचोटि can highest level of happiness or gratitude is felt by someone who's lost everything. Something on
Yeah.
that line. भनेको थियौ नि तिमीलाई. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like when you're numbing your grief and everything, you also numb happiness and joy. Yeah.
And another thing चाहिँ like we always try to associate these emotions such as sadness and grief त्योहरू चाहिँ नराम्रो भनेर एसोसिएट गर्छ नि and when you feel that way you feel bad again for
Yeah.
feeling that way क्या
Yeah. That's true.
and that's the feeling bad हुन्छ नि not being accepted त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ it just makes you not want to deal with it.
Right. Like मैले अघि भनेको थिएँ नि layers of things that I unveiled about myself. त्यो acceptance भयो होइन अनि like I accepted the fact that I don't want to feel things होइन अनि I sat with that अनि थेरापीमा आउने के निस्किने के यस्तो कुराहरू like why am I not trying to feel this or why am I like a robot हुन्छ नि अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ अनि you don't find the answer then and there नि त you just like sit with it like सोच्यो it's at the back of your head अनि बिस्तारै बिस्तारै अनि once you have that conversation with your therapist or your friends like मलाई कतिवटा conversations with like साथीहरूसँग पनि भएको छ यस्तो होइन like अनि त्यो awareness भएपछि चाहिँ whenever that pattern repeats then you're like oh is this what I'm doing again खालेको हुने कि अनि when you go through that again and again it sort of like becomes uncomfortable कि because now you're aware नि त ए के भइरहेछ or तिम्रो गाडीमा के लिक भइरहेछ भने तिमीलाई थाहा छैन भने त केही फरक पर्दैन the moment you know it now you want to act on it नि त so when it's visible and you see why it's so wrong for you then you start acting नि त अनि त्यसले चाहिँ like it gives you the courage to act जस्तै लाग्यो so yeah you have to sit with your emotions and I don't think it's an overnight thing at least not for me.
Not for anyone, bro. Self-reflection takes time.
Yeah, also now that I think about it, I know साथीहरूलाई have you tried giving some suggestions because same कुरा हो नि त you can see it for your friend but your friend cannot see it नि त अनि at this point त मलाई I don't even want to give any suggestion to anyone.
What if you're wrong? What if that's not exactly what they need? What if you just like
No, I mean some of the things I know like I've been through it and I see that happening with the other person अनि त्यो भयो भने त you sort of know नि त
yeah
that it's अलिक similar भनेर
uh-huh
अनि त्यो thought provoke गर्न नि डर लाग्छ क्या मलाई त अहिले
भन्नाले
because they don't see it के they're not ready for it के मेरो therapist पनि त्यही छ भने he probably knows exactly what's wrong with me हुन्छ नि he probably knows मैले के mistake गरिरहेको छु he never tells me that के
he just wants you to find that out for
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah
अनि that is the healthy way जस्तो लाग्छ because I have tried हुन्छ नि telling people bro यस्तो गर्न like यस्तो गर्न यस्तो यस्तो खाले अनि
not the healthy way भन्दाखेरि पनि because like just imagine you know so suppose you're doing something and like people do give you suggestions or warnings गर्ने but त्यहाँ जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ यो लिएर जाऊ है भन्छन् हुन्छ नि त I'll figure it out भनेर त्यहाँ जान्छ and until and unless you do face it for yourself you're not gonna actually act upon it okay?
yeah
Like we're not so good at taking suggestions or like just like
है
yeah
I think you have to be open to suggestions, to take suggestions. And sometimes, I mean, most of the times, like, people just want to rant and, like, not get any suggestions in return. Okay? And just, like, let me rant. Like, that'll make them feel better rather than you giving them suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
What else do we have to talk about?
Are you in a rush?
No.
तिम्रो अरू के हो key takeaways?
From therapy.
What has helped
Or
you?
from life.
Both.
What has helped me? Sounds very cliche, you know. Although fucking living in cliches, we say yes.
No, the cliches are cliches because it has worked for a lot of people. Okay.
Yeah.
मेरो पनि life cliche भइसक्यो.
Oh, I mean, like, I swear, bro, like the best way is like stick to the basics.
Like what?
सबले भन्ने कुरा हो, सबैजनालाई थाहा छ हुन्छ नि. Like,
Let me guess.
what?
Love yourself.
How do you do that?
Mm.
Yeah, love yourself, but how do you do that?
How do you do that?
How do you do that?
You tell me. You're about to say.
I'm asking you, how do you do that?
I think loving yourself, accepting yourself, say you have to make a habit of repeating that thought to yourself. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Self-talk, okay. One
Self-talk,
tool,
yes.
yeah, helps on it.
Self-talk हो अनि मलाई चाहिँ one of the biggest self-talk or the thing I repeat to myself is the fact that I'm human भनेर हैन.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I do the shittiest thing or the most embarrassing thing or whatever, and then I'm like, ठिक छ, I'm just human, it's all right.
Yeah.
अनि I try to imagine if मेरो साथीले त्यस्तो गरेको भए how would I react to it खालेको. So in that way, talking to myself about how it's okay to be भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ,
Yeah.
that has helped मलाई चाहिँ. What is your technique?
Or like to love yourself, to be happy, whatever. Fucking gratitude, man. Gratitude and being humble, bro. Swear to God. Like, brings you down, makes you feel just good, just happy with what you have. The being at peace, because you're always rushing. Life itself has become like a rush coming from me. It's always rushing. But yeah, so because we've always been taught to become this, become that, we're always trying to become somebody else. The future self is not you, it's somebody else. So you're trying to become somebody else, which is good. You need that growth. You need to have an aim, you know. But then being at peace is just being. Just being.
तर हैन, I know that's very true, like you just have to be खालेको अनि तर stagnant हुँदैन भने के.
You get it? It's okay. So you need to understand that everything in life is a phase. Life is never gonna be stagnant. No matter how much you try, it's never gonna be stagnant. You know? तिमीलाई त्यो becoming हुनलाई पनि who you want to become हुनलाई पनि you need to be first. बुझ्यो? To figure out who you want to become, you need to be able to sit and be. To be present, to just be without the pressure of becoming, without the exhilaration of just becoming. You just need to, on some days, you just need to be, to then figure out what you want to become. No matter how hard you try, life is never going to be stagnant.
Like growth-wise, like if you're not striving for something, what are you going to be when
I get it. You need to strive for something. Everybody needs to. That is becoming. And that is important. Becoming is important. Becoming is exciting. But that being said, you can't miss out on the being. We have this habit of like saying that two things can't be right at the same time.
Two things can't be right at the same time?
Yeah.
Finally?
So life ma चाहिँ there are multiple things that are right. There are multiple perspectives that can be right. हुन्छ नि. सो हाम्रो चाहिँ अहिलेको जमाना कस्तो भइसक्यो भन्दाखेरि इफ यु डोन्ट लिन राइट देन युर लेफ्ट. बुझ्यो. बट देन देयर क्यान बी सम आइडियाज द्याट आई अप्रिसिएट फ्रम द राइट एन्ड देयर क्यान बी सम आइडियाज द्याट अप्रिसिएट फ्रम द लेफ्ट. सो मान्छेहरूले चाहिँ म दुइटै हुन्छु भनेर चाहिँ त्यो पताउनै सक्दैन क्या. होइन,
what you basically mean is life is in the grays.
life is everywhere, you know, but what I'm basically saying is just because I'm saying being is important doesn't mean becoming is not. Okay? Bujha?
Wait, what?
So when I'm saying being is important, just being present, being with yourself, being happy with what you have, being content, being humble, being like having the gratitude, just like thankful with what you have, just being. Without the worry of tomorrow. When I say that is important, I'm not disregarding that becoming, aiming for something higher is not important one again. Bujhyo?
Yeah.
So to dismiss gareko haina ke. But हामीले चाहिँ we're like always surrounded by this hustle culture, always like trying to, especially at this age and this time. You always
mutually exclusive I know.
Mutually exclusive hundaina ke. So that things that you need to understand in life, like it's not like everything is not mutually exclusive.
That's true. One other thing that has helped me in this journey of accepting my emotions and being more mentally aware is journaling, obviously, because it does not involve other people's opinion either.
Yeah.
You're in your own safe space and you're just like writing and stuff. So that has helped because your deepest, darkest secrets and your deepest, darkest fear is out there. Okay? So malai चाहिँ also to even speak up about things that I'm scared of. होइन, therapistलाई नै भन्नु अलि अप्ठ्यारो लाग्ने कुराहरू चाहिँ I write it down. होइन. And but then like I've had instances where I wrote it down. Why are you laughing?
And therapy magas gaera, so I have this friend who has this problem. Just asking for a friend.
This is होइन तर होइन I feel very at ease with my therapist. I mean, I think that is how it's supposed to be.
ठीक हो.
होइन, I mean, I think we will come to the horror stories of therapy in Nepal.
Oh my God.
Also, होइन.
Yeah.
But like what I'm getting at is journal गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ what I've encountered is मलाई अति like things that I fear when I write it down, and after I take a look at it, and I don't fear it anymore. Okay?
That's what I'm talking about, the basement, क्या bro? बुझ्यो?
Yeah, त्यही त.
We're just afraid of the unknown, के? Like we are wired to be afraid of the unknown because if we didn't have that, we'd probably die.
Evolution.
Evolution, the basic shit हुन्छ नि. So we are हाम्रो त्यो नेचरमै छ क्या, we just afraid of the unknown, होइन? अनि कतिचोटि चाहिँ त्यो just like exploring the unknown is एकदम गाह्रो क्या. हुन्छ नि, like deep कुरा हो, you don't want to go that क्या. अब कतिचोटि चाहिँ past emotionsहरू हुन्छ, past eventsहरू हुन्छ, which are very very like painful to go back to.
Right.
Because त्यहाँ चाहिँ त्यो एउटा इभेन्ट हुन्छ, त्यसको लाइक कति धेरै पर्सपेक्टिभ हुन्छ क्या, के भएको हुन्छ. बट एट द्याट पोइन्ट अफ टाइम मेबी द्याट इन्सिडेन्ट ह्यापन वेन यु रियली स्मल, होइन. त्यसरी नै मेसेजिङको कुरा भने होइन, यु हेभ दिस वान मेसेज इन यर हेड एन्ड द्याट इज योर मेसेज अबाउट द इभेन्ट. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि तिमीलाई अहिलेसम्म ट्रमा भइरहेछ, होइन. बट यु डोन्ट ह्याभ द करेज टु गो ब्याक एन्ड एक्सप्लोर द्याट इभेन्ट अगेन बिकज इट्स भेरी पेनफुल. But also because it is unknown, okay? Because you don't know what you're gonna find. But then when you actually go down there, explore it for what it was, just see it. Naramre kura bhaye pani, if you can explain it, if you can just explain your brain like what had happened, like त्यसले चाहिँ it's not scary anymore के it might be sad whenever you remember it might be sad it might be like grief loss whatever हुन्छ नि you might feel emotions but it's not going to be scary के
Yeah, I think intimidation-लाई negate गर्ने one tool is to be well acquainted with it. Like you said, you get intimidated with the unknown नै हो नि त.
Yep.
Intimidated, scared, and the key to that is to be well acquainted with that. So त्यही हो journaling चाहिँ I highly suggest everyone. तर journalingमा चाहिँ मेरो कस्तो भएको थियो भन्दाखेरि I would journal only when I feel bad or low, okay? So मेरो journal would be full of sad sob stories, okay? And whenever I went back to it, it would still be sad, okay? Like the emotions are very recur hune, okay? And I realized that, and अहिले चाहिँ I try to give it a positive ending, in a sense that this is what I feel, I know, and this is how I feel. And last ma चाहिँ like like I'm human, it's okay, खालीको consoling types ending हुन्छ नि. So that sort of like gives it a better ending and makes me feel better भनौँ न.
मलाई अर्को एउटा learning याद आयो के is that like everything in life is a phase के that is another learning that I've had, is just like the deepest lows and the highest highs is gonna come to an end. Okay? Everything in life is gonna come to an end. So whatever you're feeling will pass. Even if it's the happiest day of your life, it will pass. Even if it's the saddest day of your life, it will pass. So just because whenever we are feeling low, whenever we're feeling high, we just feel like it's gonna go on forever, and that is what breaks us down. That is what doesn't make us want to get up the next day. But if you tell yourself this is a phase and this will pass, to say helps, man.
That's true. There are so many things I want to talk about there. तिमी भने जस्तै like this will pass वाला कुरा चाहिँ did come up in therapy, but in a different way. Because म चाहिँ I refrain from texting my therapist, like other than just like asking for schedules हुन्छ नि. Schedule बाहेक अरू text गर्न चाहिँ like I refrain from it because मलाई अति cringe लाग्छ हैन. तर I did it once के. Like I texted him because I was feeling miserable, I was feeling very horrible. And त्यति बेला चाहिँ he sort of like replied and said हुन्छ नि, please remember that feelings are not facts and feelings don't stay भनेर के. So that was, I think, the right thing that I heard at the right time.
Right.
Like तिमीले त्यो भनेर ठक्क.
Oh yes. We confuse feelings with facts.
Exactly.
Because oftentimes, when talking about the stories you tell yourself, it might not be true, okay?
It's not. It's just a thought.
Exactly.
It's just a thought.
कति चोटी चाहिँ.
So your feelings are not facts वाला कुरा चाहिँ because मैले मेरो therapist चाहिँ he specializes in reality therapy, which means it focuses on the present, not on past or future, whatever, So right now के भइरहेछ, how you feeling, what are the thoughts that are coming to you and are they useful for you or not खालीको कुराहरू हो के. अनि त्यसको बेसिक कुरा चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ के हो भन्दाखेरि त्यही feelings are not facts and thoughts are not true भन्ने कुरा के. So यसको like एउटा example चाहिँ कस्तो हो भन्दाखेरि suppose यता कतै next door मा आगो लाग्यो अरे हैन, अनि कस्तो आगो लाग्यो के लाग्यो, that is one thing हैन, that is the reality हैन. But some reporter comes and makes a story and posts it on maybe Kathmandu Post हैन, and that is a story नि त. There are chances that the reporter might not have captured everything नि त. So त्यो story चाहिँ हाम्रो thoughts हो के. And most of the time say those thoughts are driven by our own biases of the messages that we get in our life. हामीले अघि जुन चाहिँ मेसेजेसको बारेमा कुरा गऱ्यो नि द मेसेजेस द्याट वी ग्रो अप विथ सो त्यो कुराले चाहिँ एफेक्ट गर्छ क्या अनि बिकज वी जस्ट नो द स्टोरी वी जस्ट रिड द स्टोरी वी थिङ्क द्याट्स द रियालिटी के वी थिङ्क द्याट इज अ फ्याक्ट के विच इज नट अनि सिम्स लाइक अ भेरी माइन्युट थिङ होइन तर इट्स लाइक कस्तो लाइक लाइफ चेन्जिङ कुरा हो क्या टु रियलाइज द फ्याक्ट द्याट योर थट्स आर नट फ्याक्ट्स भनेर क्या फिलिङ जुन चाहिँ हो नि त्यो फ्याक्ट होइन भनेर रियलाइज गर्न चाहिँ कि सो वेन एभर युर फिलिङ अति नै down or whenever you're feeling bad about yourself, just to rephrase how you think and say that I'm having a thought that I'm worthless or I'm not enough भन्ने कुराहरू हुन्छ नि when you just like rephrase it in your brain it does wonders के
Very again comes back to the images that you have in your head and the stories you tell yourself.
Yeah, like 3 things actually. One is images, one is thoughts, one is emotions. So tinta kura चाहिँ just like plays a lot in your head right again. And if you can rectify it, like practice to have a positive outlook to it, then it's a help for the rest.
You can go back to those incidents, you can go back to those events, and then like once you change the narrative, okay? You could look at things in a different way.
Yeah. Having said that about like this is our
Experience.
therapy journey and experience and again we're not experts so don't really
I mean listen to
follow.
us and like listen to us and like maybe it will help you kind of relate if you can and if it does help you relate like we're super happy.
Yeah तर त्यही हो के भन्नु
हामी we're slowly coming to the end होइन यसमा चाहिँ हामीले हिजो एउटा अर्को कुरा पनि गरिरहेको थियो how I'm just trying to feel like people who do have some sort of mental health issues if you want to call it हुन्छ नि it's only human क्या bro like fuck.
yes bro it's just human क्या
it's only human हुन्छ नि and like मलाई त it's trying to feel like it's a part of growing up हुन्छ नि because oftentimes we're so ignorant about so many things we're so ignorant about a lot of things and त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ you don't want to dig deeper you're just like always living in the surface and that's what we call the emotional spectrum is also low हुन्छ नि
what do you mean by the emotional spectrum
त्यो तिमी ignorant हुँदाखेरि तिम्रो त्यो इमोसनको स्पेक्ट्रम हुन्छ नि the happiest highs र the lowest lows त्यो पनि सानै हुन्छ क्या but then as you get older you are faced with challenges you are faced with a lot of different things अनि मलाई चाहिँ अहिले चाहिँ when I अनि obviously त्यो challenges or त्यो इन्सिडेन्ट्सहरू फेस गर्दाखेरि everybody's gonna have that for the first time okay or not everybody's gonna know or have the exact right tools to decipher it in the exactly right way हुन्छ नि अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ we often have हुन्छ नि these issues if you want to call it like my issues पनि भन्नु मन लाग्दैन it just like happens हुन्छ नि अनि that is just a part of growing up okay मलाई चाहिँ normalize this because like this happens to everyone bro. Everyone feels low everyone feels high and it's just part of growing up and if you could not make this a stigma or like what's any just like
don't stigmatize
sit down with your bros and have a chat about how you're feeling bro.
I think like your series there are a lot of things we need to cover because yes we talk about mental health issues I know but we don't know the language के कसरी चाहिँ त्यो इनिसिएट गर्ने because therapistले बोला जस्तो त म I don't talk with my friends नि त होइन like how you feeling के भन्छ invalidate it हुन्छ नि don't dismiss it like those are like big words के we have to like sort of make a language which is used very often के like कसरी चाहिँ कुरा गर्ने म मेरो साथीसँग अथवा मेरो आमा बाउसँग
एक्ज्याक्टली म त्यही भने क्या फिलिङ्स अब अलिकति पनि घरमा बस्यो त्यो लाइक हुन्छ नि यु जस्ट लाइक आर लेबल्ड एज यु हेभ अ मेन्टल डिसअर्डर खालि हुन्छ नि यु हेभ अ प्रब्लम लाइक वी सिक इन थेरापी सो वी मस्ट हेभ problems. We do, everybody does. But I'm just saying that how do you normalize this, or how do you make this easier to have a conversation with in a larger mass, होइन? अनि सो त्यसैले चाहिँ हामीले यस्तो खाले कन्भर्सेसनहरू गरिरहेको हो, so that this is normalized, okay? So that people as humans, we're not robots, we can't have things right all the time, हुन्छ नि? So humans being humans, we should have human conversations, not just what we ate or like where we're going or what you're wearing, like, हुन्छ नि? You just have, because like humans are basically, we have emotions, we have hormones, we have a lot of shit.
We have flaws.
We have flaws, we make mistakes, we do a lot of things. So just if we could, normalize all of that and talk about things that actually make us feel rather than things that take us away from feelings, it would be better.
I think there are a lot of things we need to cover, like you said also, the language and how can we approach people is one. Another is how to find the right therapist.
Oh yes.
Because that is a problem I hear from a lot of people. Because Dhikichyau gairako wala therapy is India ko, so we do online therapy. And we are lucky because we found a good therapist first mege. But now that I talk to a lot of people who've been to therapy, I realize that it's a bad idea to not go without thinking about therapy like I did. किनभने मैले चाहिँ लाइक केही नसोचिकन I'll just give it a try खाले मात्र भन्नु गएको हो नि त. So it's important to know, हुन्छ नि, कस्तो खाले therapist.
And you need to know, so choosing a therapist is like choosing a pants, हुन्छ नि? So it has to fit right, kind of.
Yeah.
हुन्छ नि? Sometimes the hip doesn't fit, sometimes the thighs are too tight, हुन्छ नि? So it's similar, okay? So if you don't, so always do like a few sessions with your therapist first. If you feel like it doesn't click, then
maybe
you can change. Try someone else, and then you see what clicks. So you don't have to have like the first time, first go, you're gonna find the right therapist. Is a bit difficult. Just like Chris said, like we were lucky. So त्यो भएर चाहिँ स्पेसली हामीले सुने अनुसार नेपालमा सुने अनुसार देखे अनुसार मै गएको छु यहाँ नेपालमा, सो इट्स अ बिट ट्रबलसम हुन्छ नि त्यही. सो हेल्थ प्रोफेसनल्सहरू पनि इज नट द बेस्ट.
नेपालमा त इट्स अ हरर स्टोरी यार. वान अफ माई फ्रेन्ड वेन्ट रे होइन, अनि रिलेसनसिप यस्तो बारेमा कुरा गर्दाखेरि नानी तिम्रो त एजै भएको छैन रिलेसनसिपमा हुने भन्दाखेरि what the fuck, कस्तो लाइक इन्भ्यालिडेटिङ के. लाइक त्यो मेसेजेसको कुरा गऱ्यो नि हामीले अघि भर्खरै, लाइक what kind of message are you giving? And don't just like go to these fancy ass therapists that you see on social media or like claiming to be therapists. They're not. I swear, I feel too much about this kid because therapist only you can't like dismiss people.
They need to know their shit.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Yeah, so obviously we've had friends who's shared experiences with us about like unarko therapist haru, and the scene is not the best in Nepal. But obviously if you have if you do go to therapy अनि हजुरको therapist haru चाहिँ राम्रो छ, but if you have suggestions, please comment ma लेखिदिनु होला. So like if there are other people who are seeking for therapy, maybe they can contact like some good people, you know.
Yes.
I wish we had like a rating system for these therapists haru, so maybe we can just build a community and like have that. A lot of community building.
Yeah.
Very much required.
Yeah. So that is that. I think we covered a little bit of everything, Ada, and this was supposed to be a light-hearted conversation. But what we are going to do is specialize on these topics, kun topics haru kura gareko, and we're going to make an entire episode on that. So you can expect quite a few episodes on mental health, how we can navigate, how to choose a therapist, maybe building that narrative of building that language of how to communicate with your friends and all of that. So stay tuned. I think this will be it for today.
Yeah, and another quick notice, since I'm leaving for my master's, म चाहिँ यो सिरिजको पार्ट नहुन सक्छ होइन. सो फर द नेक्स्ट फ्यु एपिसोड्स Cree will be leading, अनि obviously we are diving deep into mental health, and you will be doing a couple of different episodes with different guests. So please stay tuned. Mote, I will join in soon. So for a couple
This
of
is an official farewell episode to Chow.
Mhm.
But obviously you're gonna be back.
Yeah, we're going to be back, and I'll bring you stories from London town.
Ambo. Dhikichyau goes international. Oh.
Ambo. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think so. With that, we have come to an end of today's episode. Stay tuned. Like, follow, subscribe, and comment down below what you like the most about today's episode and of farewell to Chow. We will miss you, but you're gonna be back. So,
I'll be back soon.
so that's it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.